So, welcome everyone. This is the working group device management meeting for January 14th, 2026. Happy New Year. This is the first meeting that we have in the EU APEC friendly time slot. So I hope you all arrived well this year in this new year. Or did we have a meeting before? Actually, I don't know. No.
I don't think so. So I think it's the first time it happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm still getting started myself. I've been working on my backlog. I haven't done that much with DRA yet, except some planning stuff. So, yeah, we have no official release schedule yet for the upcoming Kubernetes 1.36. But we expect the cap freeze deadline to be sometime next month, and then the usual busy weeks to get code merged and code freeze. We have somewhere, which I don't have at hand, our planning, but there it is. Here's a link. I can open that. Yeah, it was supposed to be somewhere. So we have we have these slides where we keep track of things that are in flight in terms of caps around DRA. It's probably the best summary that we have. And overall, the plan is to promote a few things to beta this cycle that have been in development and hopefully are ready. Some of them should be, including consumable capacity, for example, what Pang is working on, device taints and eviction, the feature that I've been driving lately. So these are meant to go to beta. Yeah. And we I think we discussed that in the last meeting. What we didn't really prioritize, I think we just decided that we'll, well, do what we can as usual. The priority is somewhere like in the first column, extended resource request. That's important because it eases the transition to DRA from extended resources or from device plugins, and everything else is, well, let's try to do it. Some of the other ones are just too new or a bit more esoteric, so they have a bit lower priority. Device binding conditions. I think John added these priorities not in the last call, so he announced it, but we didn't really discuss. But I tend to agree with the summary. So if you have any concerns, we can talk about those. But I think from my perspective, it looks reasonable. Okay, Lionel, you had a hands up, I see.
Yes, in the second slide, there was this idea to connect consumable and partitionable capacity. Is there any update on this? It was on
Connect
the
in which? Sorry.
it was on the second slide, so it was an early idea. So maybe
Okay,
connect
maybe
consumable and
connect. I think what I don't know exactly what the idea was from John, but my current understanding is that those two are cooperate with each other, and they are supposed to work together. I know that Pang had to fix a few things, but I think both fixes went in. The logic is that if you define a partitionable device, the partitions, which are devices, may have consumable capacity. So you can partition ones based on some selection criteria. And then the selected device exists and it can be allocated more than once through consumable capacity until the consumable capacity is exhausted. So I think that combination should work. And I know we had a question that I couldn't quite get to the bottom of at the last working group meeting from someone who was asking about virtual functions and physical functions. I've not seen a follow-up. I think I would expect it to work, and I wasn't quite sure yet what particular aspect we are missing.
I think it's multiple devices that are consuming the same capacity.
Okay.
So we have a common capacity and then they consume the same. So for example, we have the PF physical function for NIC that has 10 gig of bandwidth, and then it should be shared between multiple VF that are exposing the resource slice. So they should all consume the same capacity at the end.
Yeah, and the need for defining the virtual functions as separate devices is because they have different attributes.
Yes, they can. Yeah, they can have different attributes.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can see how that may be a situation where we are currently not covering. You could define all the virtual functions as one device where you have a certain capacity, a counter that is basically the number of those virtual functions. But it's not the same because then all the devices have exactly the same attributes. So you can't select one virtual function over another based on, say, how it's defined. That wouldn't work.
Right. Do you think this kind of things could be added to the current consumable capacity cap, or it should be a new one?
I would prefer to have it separate.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest.
Yeah, and Patrick, is it possible to to me, it's more like the, how to say, extend the attribute to be like allow the mapping, like index to the attributes of that index. For example, if you have 10 of the VF and each one have a different attribute, it could be index 0 to 10 or 0 to 9, and then the VF capacity is 10, something like that is one way that this could be, but we don't have the attributes that support the map stuff. I don't know whether it's cause more issue.
I think it would make more sense to have them separately. So have different devices defined and listed in a resource pool, in a resource slice, and then just make sure that the logic for consuming capacity somehow is handled. And the somehow is the part that we need to define. I would like to see it done separately because otherwise we end up blocking the current beta graduation. We can't just add it with a completely new API and new API fields and semantic in 136 and immediately promote it to beta. It would have to be under a separate feature gate, and one cap with two feature gates would be a bit unusual. It confuses our cap tracking. We've done it for device taints and eviction, but that's mostly just a secure or a kind of a separation of the functionality. It's splitting out one part and making it off or optional, and keeping the rest enabled. That can be done with that actually can be done without a cap. You can always introduce a feature gate and say, I have this functionality that I'm going to enable, but I'm not sure yet whether it's correct. I want some possibility to disable this, and then you can add a feature gate and make it on by default right from the start, but it gives consumers a way to turn this off if it causes problems. For some completely new API with new use cases, I mentioned API already. So for that for me sounds like a new cap, and it could be consumable capacity shared by devices. Well, shared is all overloaded. Anyway, we can come up with a title, and someone would need to drive the API. I don't know. Is that something that you would be interested in? Because it seems network
for
related.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. I have some other idea about consumable capacity that are not covered also, so I could include them in this same cap, I guess.
Yeah.
And thanks.
And just make
quick
sure that
question.
Yeah.
Hi, Alexei here. Last time I looked, maybe it was a bit long ago, at the consumable capacity cap, but my idea was that that's exactly the main use case that you're talking about right now. So the NVIDIA MIG devices, they share the main device's capacity. That's not far different from SRIV use case. And back when it started, I looked at it and I think it was working just fine for our devices that also use SRIV for sharing the resources. Has it diverged that much by now that it doesn't allow this?
No, you can have a device, and you can offer, and you can split out shares of it. The difference is that the shares all have the same attributes as the device from which they get split out. So instead of listing individual virtual functions, you list one physical function, and that is the device which has a consumable capacity of, say, a certain network bandwidth. And then a share is one virtual function that gets created as needed or handed out as needed. But for the user, they can only select based on the one thing that's listed in a resource license, not among several different options.
Okay, I see. Thanks. I better have a look at the latest design, I guess.
Okay, I'm trying to see whether I can capture our discussions in the meeting notes. Okay, now I waste our time writing. I'm not good at multitasking. Sorry for that. Okay. Well, that's I just updated the notes. I hope that captures it. Yeah. Shall we move on to the next topic? Well, I see another hand up. I also just realized that I missed calling out, giving a call out for new participants. If anyone wants to speak up and hasn't been into these meetings before, now is also a good time to introduce yourself. So, Masahura? Yeah.
Sorry, I'd like to ask about the current topic, PFF consumable capacity issue. So I implemented SRVBF function about CNIDR driver, which case is used personal device for virtual function sharing as one device. So I think so. We don't need the new cap. The personal device could be covered. This case as BF sharing, I think. How do you think about that?
I think it's a bit different, but I guess we will need to look at the exact device. This is where it becomes hard to discuss in a meeting, because we would need to look at a resource slice and device definitions to see what the semantic difference is. So I think that's the same thing that we said in the last call, the US friendly time zone one. We need to see a concrete proposal for how to model things, and then decide whether we need some more expressiveness in our API. So if you have an interest in that, yeah.
So I created the resource slice include the VF NIC, which is as the functional device of physical functions.
Yeah, but then I don't see how you can share capacity between them. But Pang, you had also your hand up.
Yeah, I defined the capacity for each VF due to the parent physical functions. And so user defines the bandwidth for each virtual function, which total is equal to physical functions total bandwidth.
Pang, do you want to reply?
Yeah, I just would like to add up that we may need Lionels to answer this, and as Patrick has already mentioned, we need a concrete use case that Lionel raised up, that when the VF have a different attribute. In the case as Masaharu introduced, I think he has just only a single slide, single device for the PF, and it have the common attributes, and it have capacity of the VF, capacity of the bandwidth. This, which is like the original motivations of the consumable capacity that should support. But the case that just read up is that what else when we have the VF, that each VF have a different attributes, it cannot define in a single device right now. So that is why Leonard and Patrick think it could be another cap to support that use case.
Yeah. My answer to Masahura would be that it sounds like you have split up the bandwidth statically. So each VF has a certain bandwidth assigned to it, and the sum of those bandwidths matches what is supported by the physical function. But then you are stuck with that assignment. Consumable capacity would enable you to have, I don't know, 8 virtual functions with no fixed bandwidth assigned to each, and the bandwidth gets assigned at the time when someone allocates the virtual function. So basically, someone says, I need a virtual function, and I'm consuming 1 gigabits per second through that virtual function. And then that 1 gigabit per second gets reduced from some shared capacity, and less capacity is left for the other virtual function. I think that is the new use case that we don't have covered right now.
You mean is more flexible bandwidth design
Yes.
when a user deploy the pod is needed. Is that right?
Yes, I think that is the new use case where we want something more expressive, where we have virtual functions that are defined separately because they are separate for some reason, but they still share some capacity like bandwidth.
Yes. Okay, I got it. Yeah, the VF is individual device, but we would like to handle all of them as a part of physical functions. Okay. Thank you. I got it.
Okay. Next topic. Pang?
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is another topic that I add into the Slack before the year end. It's more like also implementing a new DRA driver as well. It's for the network, not for SRV, but it's more like the IPv LAN or the shared DRA stuff. However, I just felt that it would be nice if we have like more documentations on the base practice, like how to get started with, like, if you want to create a new DRA drivers, what is the first point that we should look into? For example, what is the current one, like what is the already ongoing in the community or having the party, or like what is the right name? For examples, we have runners, we have like, I don't remember, DRA drivers for CPU. I think at some GitHub issue we have that discussions, or let use this format like DRA driver CPU. I guess I mean like the result is at the end or something like that. So yeah, I just wondered, like, we should I'm just thinking that we should have some like the document about that, and also maybe the communication protocol as well. Like if you have the issue, I know that we create the GitHub issue first, but it's just hard to track in the, like, how to say, in the main track for the DRA, and I think we have like these working groups focusing on the DRA. So maybe we should have some directory. It could be in the groups, or it could be like, I'm not sure, in some repo that's already there.
Yeah. We do have a list. It's a bit hard to find, and I'm always struggling. It was under, well, now I probably will just confuse it. I have to think. It was somewhere on our 6 repo, I think under working group device management. I'm not sure if I have it in my browser history, so let me see. We're working group device management.
Oh, actually, okay.
Yeah. Okay. First hit. It wasn't that obscure. So yeah, we do have this directory here. So this is our working group device management repository that we created a while back. It does have a few things where we were, for example, playing around with partitionable devices APIs. Some of these are fairly obsolete. These will really just throw some code out there with versioning. And what we did add here is this device ecosystem directory, which is taking pull requests to add new entries. So that's where we have been tracking existing drivers. It's not complete, so it's up to someone who wants to have his driver listed here. It's a compromise. We can't do that same thing in the official Kubernetes website. it's too vendor specific. It doesn't belong under the Kubernetes developer documentation or Kubernetes, or even the official Kubernetes documentation. But as a working group, we can say maintain this document here. And
Yeah.
as I said, it's a bit hard to find because we are not linking it to it, I think, anywhere officially. You have to know that it exists.
Yeah, that exactly answers my question. So yeah, I can add that into the bookmark. I mean, like anyone can add it into the
Yeah,
bookmark.
we could add it. We can add it to the
Oh, even
to bookmark it in our channel. I'll
yeah.
probably do that. So perhaps like next time, if I remember that I have bookmarked it there, it will be in our Slack channel too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
regarding best practices, the naming of some of these DRA drivers is not consistent. We discussed that with DRA, CPU, and getting the repo created. Even the DRA example driver is not following, I think, what we decided to use as the final naming for DRA drivers developed by the working group or any particular SIG. So I'm not sure whether we decided to rename the repo. Don't think so, but we might want to be a bit more proactive about explaining what naming scheme is considered best practice. And I don't think we have it. I just remember that we discussed it. Lionel?
Just about the vendor-specific DRA driver and the Kubernetes documentation. There is a page installing add-ons in Kubernetes website where it lists the CNI, for example, that people could install. It's not really up to date, but at least there is some
I think
vendor-specific.
this is legacy. This is grandfathered in.
Okay.
It was added a long time ago before people realized that this might not be the best thing for Kubernetes to do. There is a standing policy that Kubernetes is not the kingmaker, so we are not selecting we don't have criteria what may be listed, what must not be listed, and which one to put first, or whether it's alphabetical or whatever. So it's very hard to keep those things up to date. And there's the problem of information getting stale. So SIG docs doesn't want to be responsible for such a table. So they don't want to be the ones who get blamed if information is outdated. They would get issues, and it would get filed against the website by readers of that page, and it wouldn't go to the owner of that entry. It would go to SIG docs.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, coming back to Pang's topic questions, communication, naming. Yeah, naming is one that I just mentioned, where we are not consistent, but I think we settled on making it a suffix. DRA driver CPU, I think, is best practice, and DRA driver example would have been what we should have used for the example driver, but we didn't. So yeah. Same, I think DRA driver net, it follows the same pattern, and those are official repos now. DRA driver net, I think, is going to come. DRA driver CPU is already exists already.
Yeah. Now it's have a DrawNet DRA driver CPU, DRA driver topology, but I'm not sure, and their CNI DRA driver.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll never get full consistency, but at least some best practice might help.
Yeah, I mean, for the futures, DRA driver maybe. I don't know. Yeah, thank you so much, but you already answered my questions. I didn't know like there's a page in I can create some PR to update some point in there the working group.
Please do. Yeah. And we might encourage others to add their own too. But this is again a shared maintenance. I don't want to create PRs listing the things that I know about that exist. It should come from someone owning and working on those drivers.
Yeah, maybe I don't know whether like it should be discussed here or somewhere else. Like, what is the protocol to accept like the new, as you mentioned, like the problems in the Kubernetes doc, like the criteria to add the new item into the list, and so on. So that I think that one should be discussed as well. This could be separately.
For the upstream docs, there is a policy that says no vendor-specific documentation. And yeah,
but I mean, like here.
For our page, it's feel free to add implementations as they graduate. So basically, just send us PRs. It's more liberal.
Yeah, but I just wonder whether we need we would like to have some kind of like the criteria or like to approve it, or it just depend on the maintainer. If maintainers approve it, it should be fine.
It's ours. It's our directory. It's our owners. So we don't. Well, yeah. It's a working group. We will approve basically anything. I suppose.
Okay.
As long as it looks useful. I mean, just a placeholder PR. Oh, sorry, no, I clicked the wrong one. If we just have a placeholder for something that doesn't have any further details, no link or nothing that people can read up on, then we probably won't take it.
And how about like the work in progress one? Like,
I think that's fine. I would say just go ahead and edit.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And the DRA driver net, DRA driver CPU, I think those all should be here. If you want to go ahead and add those, then feel free. Yeah. Perhaps keep the people in the loop who are working on those drivers so that they know that it's being listed here.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
The quality of this page, of course, also depends on people actively updating it. But we're not making any promises, so I think it's fine. Okay. You said you created a new issue. Let's see what that one is.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah, but I think that makes sense. We do have the profiles now. So for those who are not aware, for the example driver, traditionally we had just a hard-coded model of 8 GPUs per node, and that was it. That was the example. I think this week or last week, we merged a PR that introduces profiles. So you can deploy the example driver with different profiles, and each profile can provide different kinds of devices. It may also depend on different Kubernetes features. So we could have something where the default profile works on all Kubernetes releases all the way back to 132. I think that's our cutoff release. And then some profile might depend on having a certain cap feature enabled that's off by default. And then if you deploy that driver with that profile, it will not work on the wrong cluster, but that's okay because it's optional. And consumable capacity would clearly be one example of something that needs to be in the example driver. Yeah. So the issue makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I actually left last questions like whether I should wait until like the 91. Is it about like the enable features, disable features? But you already answered me that okay, I can go ahead and the one want to deploy. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to add some like read me something that you need to enable by this and that before.
There is some documentation now in the top level README for the example driver that mentions profiles. It was missing in the initial PR, but it was initially missing in the PR, but I asked for it, and there's now one section. And then if you add a profile, describe the profile, how it differs, and what the requirements are, then and it's good to go. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
We
you.
were blocked on refactoring the code a bit, so we had to have a way of deciding how to generate resource slices, and I think that held that back a bit, but it's now
Okay.
in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And also, I think there is a PR for for upgrading 135 for example as well. It's going to be like review and merge soon, or is waiting for L as
No,
well?
I think it's just waiting for an LGDM
Okay.
by someone,
Yeah.
and John is now has approver rights. So if he says that this is good and someone else confirms, it'll merge. I just haven't looked, but that isn't controversial, I think. So anyone, if you feel like reviewing this, you can leave an LGD. Actually, you can't because you still haven't applied for community membership, haven't you? Have you? So that was a question to Pang, because I think you have done so much
Okay.
work now. Think you absolutely should apply for community member status.
I think I have already the members of the community 6 Kubernetes.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can try not just leaving a comment, but literally doing this /LGDM.
Okay. Sure.
Unless you have concerns. I see you have one comment about controller
Yeah.
not being up to date. So yeah, up to you, up to you and John to figure out.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the risk if you are an approver. If you create a PR yourself, anyone can make it merge. Anyone who is a member, and that's a pro and con. Sometimes people get their PRs merged accidentally where they wanted others to chime in and give some opinion, and then someone else, some random person comes along, does an LGDM, and it merges. But that's on the people with the approval rights. They need to put a hold on a PR if they have additional requirements for reviews, and then make sure that they get everything approved and reviewed by the people that we wanted to get feedback on from. So yeah, follow up with John on this, and we can merge it, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And the same goes for some of the others. I typically don't look at the DRA example driver that much. I like to leave it to others if possible. But yeah, sometimes PRs get stuck because even if John is a maintainer, he still needs someone else to confirm. And I have the same problem elsewhere, where I'm doing something where I know pretty well that it's the right thing to do, but I still need someone to confirm, and it's getting stuck. But that's a general problem. Yeah. Any other topics? I've mentioned it before. We do have. I think we have a few people who I haven't seen or don't remember on the call. If you want to just quickly introduce yourself, now would be the time. Otherwise, we'll just close the meeting early. Just raise your hand or just start talking. Yep.
Hey, Patrick, I'm Baswa. So I joined along with Chandra. So we both work at IBM. So just going through this DRA driver. So we'd like to contribute to the open source one.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I can maybe introduce myself again. Sorry?
Yeah, Alexei, I think you were first.
Okay, I haven't been here for a while. So I'll just introduce myself. I am Alexei. I work at Intel, and I'm the main maintainer of our Intel DRA drivers.
Yeah, which we have listed in that document. So if you want to learn more, we have some public pages about them. Yep. Well, thanks, but that was a good call out. Yeah. I'm trying to keep this meeting relevant, and it is because you all join, and that's good, and we have a lively discussion. So let's just keep doing it. Thanks, everyone. If we don't have anything else, last call. I'll thank you all for joining, and we'll see each other again in 2 weeks. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.